Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Keep my head up when I act, head up, that's a fact. Never looking back, I'ma keep myself on track. Keep my head up, staying strong, always moving on. Feel I don't belong, tell my thoughts to move along. Push myself to be the best, die with no regrets. Live with every breath, see my message start to spread. And I had so many dreams, then you hit your teens. Life ain't really what it seems, try to find out what it means. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah. I'm grateful, oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable, oh yeah, no label, oh yeah, you know me, I have only a path, I'm lonely, but damn, I'm going to win. I don't want no fake love, I want the real stuff. Everybody listen up, cause I'll only say it once. I'm gonna show you all the path, if you want it bad. I'm gonna show you where it's at, yeah, how you can get it back. Yeah, cause I ain't never done, I'll be number one. Working hella hard until I get just what I want, yeah. Rises like the sun, yeah, fatal like a gun. Shooters gonna shoot and I'm gonna shoot until I won, yeah. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah. Grateful, oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable, oh yeah, no label, oh yeah, you know me, I have only a path, I'm lonely, but damn, I'm going to win, yeah. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Keep my head up when I act, head up, that's a fact. Never looking back, I'ma keep myself on track. Keep my head up, staying strong, always moving on. Feel I don't belong, tell my thoughts to move along. Push myself to be the best, die with no regrets. Live with every breath, see my message start to spread. And I had so many dreams, then you hit your teens. Life ain't really what it seems, try to find out what it means. Always do it on my own, so I gotta get through it. And the only thing I know is to love what I'm doing. Never give up, never slow, till I finally prove it. Never listen to the no's, I just wanna keep moving. Yeah, I put out all this art, it's my only medicine. Yeah, everything I do, I'm just being genuine. Yeah, I'm sick of being screwed, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah. I'm grateful, oh yeah, able, oh yeah, I'm stable, oh yeah, no label, oh yeah, you know me, I have only a path, I'm lonely, but damn, I'm going to win. I want no fake love, I want the real stuff. Everybody listen up, cause I'll only say it once. I'm gonna show you all the path, if you want it bad. I'm gonna show you where it's at, yeah, how you can get it back. Yeah, cause I ain't never done, I'll be number one.
Hello everyone, I'm the Serious Bear, welcome back to Disco Elysium. Let's continue where we left off last time in part 3. Thank you all for joining me who are on this live. Now last time we did a little digging, we found some clues. We are in day 2, remember. Let's go talk to Joyce, I believe. Oh yes, hello Anna. Yes, I had a few problems, so sorry for being late, quote unquote. Remember, those of you who can't be live with me will be able to see my playthrough on YouTube. After the live is done, it will be posted normally. So if you can't be live now, I hope you'll join me later. Let's talk to her again.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with? Everything. Right up to, but not including, trade secrets. First, you'd have to repeal the Emergencies Act of Trade in Aliments. That gives me the right to silence. It's quite the octopus.
Oh, an octopus.
Good luck is only kept in place by the vested interests of half the civilized world, including your own.
What the ma'am means is that the Emergencies Act and the RCM both get their authority from the coalition government.
You'd be shooting yourself in the foot, in other words.
Okay, I'll leave it alone.
But I am derailing us. You wanted to know about the strike. I believe the official title is Senior Labor Negotiator. In practice, I'm a grocery clerk. I relay the union's demands to Wild Pines and return with Wild Pines' counteroffer.
And how are the talks going?
They're not. That's the problem. The union stopped all negotiations a week ago, after that awful lynching took place. Now they won't even let me into the harbor. There's a 2-meter 20 racist behemoth blocking the gates. Oh, so you've met him. Has he beguiled you with his inane theories?
Yes, he did.
My colleague has his peculiarities. Let's not go into this particular one just yet.
Of course. To each their own. Let's say I was not making the kind of progress I'd hoped for when I first arrived.
And when did you first arrive?
I arrived 3 weeks ago. Yes, in the middle of February. The bay was still partially frozen then. I prefer to do these things on site, like the RCM.
But the strike began in December.
I wasn't the original negotiator here. I took over after Mr. Gaumont hit a wall with Mr. Clare, the union boss. Mr. Clare refused to speak with Gaumont despite concessions he'd granted the union in prior negotiations.
This isn't the first time the union has gone on strike.
Heavens no. There have been 2 prior strikes. Both times the union won significant concessions, including overtime pay and a medical plan. This time their demands are more, I guess you could say, aggressive.
Ludicrous, even. It's meant.
Okay, what happened to this Gaumont?
Mr. Clare told him to... how did he put it? Fuck off, midget. Gaumont is short of stature, you see. Keep in mind, this is a negotiator Mr. Clare has worked with before, and who was more than fair with him and the union. There are leaflets everywhere, and banners. What did they say again? Oh, yes. Every worker, a member of the board.
Most of the workers probably don't know what that means.
Then you might also like their other slogan. Demand democracy. Personally, I agree. It lacks the pizzazzo of every worker a member of the board. It's quite simple, you see. Every time the Wild Pines group makes a decision, about what? About anything really, it needs the signature of each of the 2,200 workers in its Martinez terminal. Just so you understand, this is but one of 22 terminals owned by Wild Pines. Essentially, not only are they kings of the company, they are also kings of the 72,000 employees of Wild Pines Group.
The king is dead, long live the workers.
That may well be. It's not up to me to decide who is king, but as negotiations go, it's not a swell start. I'm not sure. Naturally, I assume that was just their opening position, a hard-nosed tactic with a side of mockery. But there's been no follow-up, just the same nonsensical slogan repeated over and over again. And now, people are getting lynched, I hear. Behind the whirling in rags. A disastrous situation if there ever was one.
Excuse me, from whom did you hear about this lynching?
I first heard it from the bowyer at the gates. The one whose very name advertises his aversion to work. I think he said it was, "Call me mañana."
This checks out.
The scabs? You mean the huddled masses of Jamrock, come to plead for work where the union refuses to? If they were organized by Wild Pines or its affiliates, then it would be a company secret. I could not share it with you. Not right now, at least.
It's implied. She's open to discussing this matter with you at a later occasion.
Okay.
Everard Clare is a man of the utmost integrity. If you can say one thing about him, it's that he always puts the interests of the workers first. Of course not. Everard is fantastically corrupt. I imagine he has a thick, viscous goo where you and I have blood.
Probably.
If you were to prick it with something sharp, you could see it oozing out. A knife, maybe? No, a rapier.
Oh, heavens no. We get along just fine. Yet, now that you mention it, I can't stop imagining that black treacle just dribbling down his double chin. He is the most corrupt individual I have ever seen, and I deal with men like him for a living. If there is anyone more venal, more irredeemably nepotistic, then it's his twin brother, Edgar. Yes, Edgar looks exactly like his brother, except for that lazy eye. He also talks exactly like Everard does, and when one's term as foreman is up, the other takes over. It's how they circumvent the term limits, you see, with a funny little switcheroo. While in office, they've embezzled God knows how much of their workers' dues. The Débardeurs Union was once a perfectly normal institution. 20 years ago, anyway. It must not have been easy to establish under the Emergency Act, but they did it. I can respect that. Organised labour at its best, as they say. Then something happened in the local chapter elections. The brothers Clare came and transformed it into a... how do you say?
A mob. The Débardeurs are a crime syndicate. Sad as it may be, I suspect we'll be forced to cooperate with them.
Refreshingly honest, officer. The company has tried appeasing in the past, but I'm afraid our concessions have only emboldened Everard and his brother. And your opinion, detective, if I may ask? I'm a curious and talkative person, you see. Would you say the Débardeurs Union is...
Yeah, basically a socialist mob.
Thank you for being candid. Sadly, Wild Pines have cooperated with what amounts to a crime syndicate for 2 decades. However much you feed the wolf always hungers. I'm glad you asked. There was a woman, the previous forewoman of the union. She disappeared.
Disappeared?
Yes. On the last day of the local chapter elections, her daughter phoned in and said she wasn't running anymore. Or coming to work. Ever. End of story.
Yeah, some kind of extortion, probably.
Indeed. The company suspects foul play, but there's nothing they could do. It was a union matter. The point of the presentation is, these kinds of things happen around the Clares. Watch out when you're dealing with him.
Thank you for your concern, ma'am. We'll be just fine.
Of course. How else can I help?
Okay, that's all for now. Let's unlock a slot. Okay. We've got Guillaume Lamillion, Lonesome Long Way Home, Caustic Echo, Advanced Race Theory, and Koldoma Madakwa. Let's go with Advanced Race Theory to please that measurehead. We can resume talking to her now.
You're back. Good. What can I help you with? More lessons in basic reality? My favorite part of the day. Go ahead, ask me anything. These are unimportant times, Detective. You and I were born after the dust had settled. 1,000th of a second too late. For the big time. The revolution. It's quite easy. Every 100 years or so, our species gets together to decide what's next, who gets shot in the head, and who gets the mineral rights. It's a real kerfuffle. Those would be the communists. Generally speaking, 40 million people got shot in the head during the World Revolution. But the communists, they all got shot in the head. Oh, and the anarchists too. They shot them well. So well, one forgets they even existed. Did they ever? Before they got shot themselves, they shot 2 million people.
Yeah, it was a kerfuffle, all right.
Yes, the Insulindian deluge, they call it. Oh, lots of people. Even the king got shot in the head, or thrown beneath a horse, or drowned. Accounts differ. It was unceremonious. Just as well, he wasn't actually the king. Just the king's nephew. The real king abdicated and lived out a long and productive life as a venture capitalist in Grad. Yes, King Guillaume had a nose for bad PR. He ran before it. What is the expression? Went down? Anyway, Gil got out alive and his nephew Frisell got shot in his place. Him and tens of thousands of his wonderfully fascist kingsmen. It was a wild time.
Okay, who got the mineral rights?
The liberals got the mineral rights. And by mineral rights, I mean everything. Liberals are usually middle-class people, Detective. Or the remaining gentry. The beneficiaries of the pre-revolutionary arrangement. Some were rich enough to stay with the Constitution, with monarchy. Big mistake. Others bet on the revolution. They were called the ultras, or ultra-liberals. They fared well. They didn't win so much as survive. We were the last ones standing when the war ended. Everyone else got shot in the head, remember?
We. She's one of them. Of course.
Of course.
To foreign intervention. The coalition. Those people really took the mineral rights. The liberals took everything that wasn't nailed to the ground. The coalition took the ground. The ocean, the laws, and the people. The coalition of nations. Grad, Mesk, Vesper, Messina, Oranje, and Sur-le-Clay, the armed center of the world. They landed here and ended the revolution. It was the moralist thing to do. The moralists believe in keeping everything exactly the way it is. They believe in mineral rights and not shooting people in the head. At least not in the same manner and volume as the others do. They are the long-standing provisional rulers of Revachol now, the coalition government. This is their zone of control. They embolden the RCM with crumbs of the same law they took. Technically speaking, you are a moralist.
The color of moralism is blue. The official motto of Moral Intern, or Moralist International, is a blue forget-me-not, a piece of grey sky. Unofficial. For a moment, there was hope.
Of course. Not easy to be moderate about head shooting in your line of work.
Rooty tooty, pointy shooty.
Rooty tooty pointy shooty?
That's the way of history. The turn of the century revolution? Don't answer it. It's a trick question. The revolution began in '02 on the Isla of Grad, though by the end, nearly the whole world had gotten involved. It wasn't a who, but a what. A pandemic of Zarat, a particularly virulent prion disease, which the authorities in Grad proved unable to contain. Then Mazov came along and overthrew the government. It made people overthrow their governments. Indeed, Zarat is a highly infectious microorganism that destroyed brain tissue. The actual causes of the revolution were material. The pandemic only provided the spark. From Revachol and Grad? Not far. The world managed to cauterize itself. Mazov's government was overthrown in '08, and the coalition crushed the Revachol commune 2 years later. It was the end. Why? You and I, officer. Our lives in the zone of control.
Something tells you her life and yours are not that similar. Maybe it's because she has a boat and you have that necktie? A pair of pants?
No doubt. But we share the same time and position on the planet's crust. That counts for more than you think. A city-state divided into free market zones under the everlasting interregnum of the Coalition of Nations. And you, of course, the citizens' militia.
The clatter of typewriter keys fills the main hall of the reappropriated silk mill. Precinct 41. Chad Tilbrook presses enter. Outside, Officer Elfboy Williams slams the door of an armored motor carriage.
The zone of control is the third incarnation of Revachol, after the failure of the suzerain and the commune. Modernity. They developed the marvels of the inter-eslary communication, telematic milieus, radiation, colored plastics. Meanwhile, in Revachol West, the aftermath continues for the 5th decade.
51 minus 8 equals 43.
Time flies. The 20s saw a decade of urban war, west of the river leveled, offshore platforms in flames. Still, it's regarded as an improvement on what came before. '08 to '19 was simply hell. The 30s? Things settled down in the 30s. Revachol East transformed itself into the world's largest tax haven, with the international community's blessing. For the first time in a long time, it seemed like things were going somewhere. Yes, and quantitative easing. It was a market mirage, unfortunately. The 40s dispelled it. An Isla-wide hangover, you might say. So, here we are.
Hello, Red Phoenix. Welcome to the stream.
Welcome to reality, baby.
For her to be where she is, Wild Pines Group must have picked the right side.
They picked the winning side. That's why they're here, and others are not. Perhaps it wouldn't have turned out that way had I been in charge. I might have bet on the king and led the Pines to doom. I would have sided with the cannons. If you'd seen the calibers of the things, you might have too. Perhaps it's better I was born when I was. 10 of the 14 Indo tribes got it wrong. Feld, Kupri, Tricentennial. So I suppose I would have been in good company. Good question. What would you have done differently? So a quarter of humanity simply lost their minds. And how would you stop a prion, a complex folding protein, unlife, with a technology 50 years ago?
Liquidate the rabid prime-infested dogs who want to kill everyone with cleansing artillery fire.
Liquidate? That's what King Philip kept screaming from the Sol Aurum. Liquidate! Liquidate! In the end, they liquidated the Sol Aurum, melted the palace cube down to gold and platinum, and sold it for bullets. Strange times.
Opinions expressed here do not reflect the official position of the RCM.
Of course, Kim.
And what is your official position, Lieutenant?
My position, ma'am? My parents got ripped to shreds in the revolution. I would have gone the same way. I was saved by being 2 years old. That's my position. The abattoir.
Understandable.
Okay, that's
They
enough.
are what they are. Who knows? An afterbloom may yet come. Anyway, enough sentimentality. Is there anything else you want to know?
Not so fast. Who is she in all this? Ask her who she is. She owes you an answer.
Ooh, very high.
She won't maneuver her way out of this one.
I am the vilest of the vile. A traitor. A devourer of nations and infants. I am an ultra.
Dio mio. Libro.
An ultra-liberal. It's a type of liberal. From the revolution. It's, not the moderate kind. Yes. I am the nether creature of the Forbidden Swamp. I pushed the king under a shit wagon and betrayed the revolution. My kind surrendered the nation to financial colonists. I can see you thought we'd gone extinct. After all, no sane person identifies as an ultra-liberal anymore. Not in broad daylight. You've got Revachol in your blood. A real nationalist. No? Tell me, now that I've uncoiled myself, are you repulsed?
In her green eyes, you see a mixture of truth and self-satire. Decades of guilt and pride.
I forgive you, but only because you're charming.
A devil, who being of great charm and guile, sneaketh into the homes of the godly.
Beneath her waterproof raincoat and silk shirt is a body imbibed in numb 12 perfume. You are suddenly and intimately aware of it.
What the fuck?
I hope we're able to remain friends, despite my scaly bulk and my love of regicide and homosexuality. The loss of sovereignty was not our plan all along, I assure you. When the dust settled, the liberals were the only ones left to clean up the mess. By virtue of their survival, they were handed enormous power to shape the future. This was all our last generation managed. With due respect to our overlords, the eternal caretaker government that keeps Martinez a monument to the efficacy of its artillery, I would not have relinquished sovereignty to the Coalition. Not here in Martinez, and not in the Stella Maris or Delta Beachheads either. If not for my own sake. Then for my daughters. We had an obligation to defend our sovereignty. We should have burned the whole Isla down rather than let them have it.
Dark orange flames reflect in her green eyes. An oil fire on the ocean.
Perhaps. My intellectual vanity will be my undoing.
You're no dummy yourself.
A smart boy getting smarter, one basic term of reality at a time. Yes, I suppose I am. But I wouldn't be a patriot anywhere but here.
Seditious talk, man.
Yes. Whatever else I am, I'm also a mother and a wife. Now, shall we return to reality? A bird? A sphenicid? A flightless bird of the polar regions? Of course you're not, my dear. I'm just terrible at guessing games. Ah! This is the pier of Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 33A, where the tenants have been kind enough to rent me a slot. Or two. A pre-revolutionary tenement. Old buildings are called tenements, you see. And new buildings, bâtiments. After les bâtiments nouveaux. But 33A and 33B are not nouveaux. They're old. This one used to be 8 to 10 stories tall. A real high-rise by the standards of the last century. Built to mirror the skyscrapers across the bay in the Delta. That was before the war, of course. Mostly the urban middle class, I believe. This was once primo real estate, before the cannons lopped 4 or 5 stories off. Splat, splat. Wonderful. The girl in the old lady rags looks like a sullen and rebellious member of a teen infraculture. Yes, you and I belong to the supraculture. We're common, the herd. The music on the radio, the food in the chain restaurant, those are all too popular for the girl in the old lady rags. She prefers a fantasy world, an infraculture with its own dress code and vernacular. It is an illusion, I'm afraid. There is no refuge from the supraculture. I can't. That's how simple it is. One may dye their hair green and wear their grandma's coat all they want. Capital has the ability to subsume all critiques into itself. Even those who would critique capital end up reinforcing it instead. All right. What next?
Suddenly, you're not so sure you're part of the supraculture.
And what would that be? I can see that, yes. I dabble in those dark arts myself, not so long ago. I assure you, it was a thoroughly supracultural phenomenon. All permeating. Downright mandatory. Nothing infra about disco, baby. Those days are long behind me. And even in the early 30s, I would say I was more of a new girl. Disco was a minor, but still enjoyable facet of the whole thing for me. The new, a cultural era, and the name of the decade it ravished, the 30s. It came out of post-revolutionary revival. It was ultra-liberal. It involved lots of partying, as you might imagine, and champagne-colored everything. By the looks of it, that would have been when you came of age. Now.
Okay. You started to do the impossible 97%.
What is all of this? The scent, the sound, the air.
What world? The only one, I suppose. The world of matter. And its pale antipode.
The camera of her mind glides over the surface of the water.
Great bodies of water. Forest-covered surfaces. Clusters of light where the cities lie. You've seen the montage. We all have. This world is enough. There is a term of endearment they coined for it in the DeLorean century, when humanity was high on this world, discovering more and more of it, these archipelagos included. Elysium. It does. There are those who would call it hell.
Interesting.
A term of hatred that originates, like many such things, with the Mesk petro-fascists. Oh, you want a picture of the world? There is no complete set yet, dear. They're having some trouble reaching orbit. Great things are difficult to achieve. For now, we're viewing the world from the inside, sideways. We used to think it was a sphere, but that is beginning to look less and less likely by the day. You wouldn't know it from the tabloids, but the ORG nations have been launching weather balloons into the lower ionosphere since the 30s.
ORG, Occident Revachol Grad.
There's a steadily increasing trickle of images. Between the big three scientific contributors, they're piecing together a dark grey corona. Yes. Pale covers 72% of the surface. There are grey flares and prominences, even arcs above entire isolas. The images are blurry, but if there was a sphere in there, it certainly looks like it fractured a long time ago.
A cold fear seeps into you.
You seem to be spooked. Please don't be. They say there is a rarefied envelope of matter surrounding the darkened disk of our planet. That is, if we are still living on a planet. Or, to speak more plainly, imagine vast swathes of land disrupted by nothingness. I am sorry, Detective. Philosophically speaking, it must sound quite terrifying. Even scientific positivism isn't entirely convinced about what we're dealing with here. But this is one of the greatest questions of our time. Maybe when they get the complete set together, it will jolt us out of our rut, bring us together, however naive it may sound. You have misimagined it. I don't have the power to convey to you the effect and geometry of the images that depict our world from below low orbit. It's like the crowning of the world. It's insane. Very disco. You'd love it. See, everyone finds something worth holding on to in this world, however wasted its opportunities.
Suddenly, you're conscious of yourself standing there, on whatever this all is. Your arms hang down by your sides. The lieutenant observes you both, silently. He adjusts his glasses.
The Pale is not, technically speaking, part of reality.
Yes. Also, I think we've had enough excitement for today. Remember, we have a cadaver to attend to.
The voice of reason, Kim.
Of course, Lieutenant. Let's try something else.
Ma'am, this philosophical police detective is very sensitive and impressionable because of his recent medical episode.
The Lieutenant's right. Let's change topics. What do you want to know? Anything.
This is not going to happen with the lieutenant present, unless you can convince him to step aside.
Oh, Kim trusts me. Okay, nice.
Good idea. Just ask him. He won't make a scene.
Fine.
See? What can he do? You're a grown man.
Are you sure you're sure? Your colleague seemed adamant. Okay. The Pale is the most dominant geological feature of the world, Detective. The separative tissue between the islas. It is the interinsulary mass. Isla is a Messinian word for a continent of matter, enveloped on all sides by the Pale. Also, isolation, or landmass. We used to believe there was only one. In the last 4 centuries, we have discovered 7. Muindi, Seol, Samara, Ilmara, Grad, Katla, and this, Insulinde. An oceanic isla. It comprises mostly of water. Muindi is the largest, Katla the coldest, Insulinde the bluest. What can I say? Each is perishing and dear. Achromatic, odorless, featureless. The Pale is the enemy of matter and life. It is not like any other, or anything in the world. It is the transition state of being into nothingness.
The negation of being.
That's right. The negation of being. No, Detective. We're safe. It begins there, 6,000 kilometers to the north, and even more to the south, east, and west. You are in the middle of the Isla.
As your gaze instinctively turns north, a small black pit opens up in your stomach.
Yes. That is enough. Many cities are built much closer.
Interesting.
An uproar of matter, darling. Rising into the Pale. Rolling. Evaporating even. A great vision. The area of transition between the world and the Pale is called Porch Collapse.
So it seems we are indeed in hell.
Imagine a grey coronal mist, cold vapor marked by spores of an opportunistic microorganism, a mold that's adapted to grow at the edge of the unrest. It's the most disco thing you will ever see. It's difficult to describe, or even measure. Something whose fundamental property is the suspension of properties. Physical, epistemological, linguistic. The further into Pale you travel, the steeper the degree of suspension, right down to the mathematical. Numbers stop working. No one has yet passed the number barrier. It may be impossible. Oh, it is so difficult for us. It is possible to force dimensions on the Pale. In modern times, we can even compress its latitude, bouncing radio waves from one end to the other, shortening the path. But it is still hard for humans to navigate the Pale without getting lost, or having our minds damaged. Extensively. Some say the damage stems from extreme sensory deprivation. Others argue that Pale somehow consists of past information that's degrading, that it's rarefied past, not rarefied matter. They call it the blend over of the self. The Pale does not only suspend the laws of physics, but also the laws of psychology, maybe history even. The human mind becomes over-radiated by past.
Who says and who argues?
The logical positivists say, the dialectical materialists argue. It feels terrible. Absolutely terrible. International standards strictly limit civilian travelers to 6 days of Pale exposure per year.
It's more for her. Way more.
No, nameless detective of the Citizens Militia. I am a member of the Entreprenetic Business Class. I'm cleared and trained for 22 days of Pale transit annually. Up to my gills, officer. Entreprenetics is the scientific study of the Pale, or a recent iteration of it by way of Grad. The study of the Pale reaches back 6,000 years. The Pericarnassians called it the Western Plain.
They had not traveled the entire circumference of the Pericarnassian Super E-Solar. It was not merely in the west, it was everywhere, even then, surrounding them.
There are signs of pre-modern crossings. Successful navigation of the Pale relies not just on technical know-how, but intensive psychological preparation. Some of these tactics have been known for thousands of years.
Yes, indeed, Phoenix. It's snowing. I'm just standing in the snow talking reality with this woman.
Nothing. We remain powerless before the Pale. The only real advance in Pale transit is the speed with which an aerostatic craft can pierce it. Less exposure leads to less effects later. Hybrid airships, Detective. Conventional rotors or jet engines no longer add velocity after the point of reference for motion is suspended, once you've crossed from near Pale to far Pale. In essence, we throw them in and they come out the other end. If we throw them precisely, then they don't.
Gone, like a skipping stone beneath the surface.
The Pale outweighs reality 2 to 1. There is more Pale than there is matter, and the ratio is slipping. What do you think, Detective? Precisely. One of the few measurable effects of the Pale is that it is expanding at an unknown rate. An intuitive conclusion of that development is that one day the Pale will cover everything. But this sort of talk is mostly left to extremists. Most people, and indeed most private and government sector organizations, entire civilizations and religions even, find handy ways to ignore or downplay that knowledge. I suggest you do the same.
Okay, let's conclude.
Yes, sweet reality. But before we do, tell me, Detective, this isn't really an inquiry, is it? You can't remember a single thing. This is the first time you're hearing about any of this. Then tell me, what do you think of the Pale? You really didn't know. This does not spell good for the investigation, Detective. If you don't know even this, then... I hope so. I truly do. If I may suggest, hold on to your colleague, Kitsuragi. I ran a check on him and he is very competent. In the meanwhile, you have me. I will assist you in any way I can, even if we have to do it one basic term at a time.
Good. You have not passed out from it. Perhaps I worried for nothing. Are we still on the reality lowdown, or should we do actual police work now? But I did. Anyway.
Damn it, you're a grown man, the lieutenant thinks. Shouldn't have gotten protective hair.
Good luck, detectives.
Okay, let's move on.
You hear someone walking around inside, rearranging the furniture. The number on the panel says 10. A poor communard from the looks of it. The room is barely bigger than a closet.
Let's go. We don't have a reason to get inside that apartment.
It's generally easier to do things if you have literally.
Okay, okay.
This door has been closed with a padlock. A chalk-drawn number on the board says number 11.
Let's try to get inside.
The shackle snaps like a twig, and the lock falls to the floor with a little thud. It should be possible to enter now.
After you, detective.
Come on, get inside. Yeah, sure. This grass blazer.
A plaster cast bust depicts a middle-aged man with impressive sideburns. The name on the plinth reads Kraz Mazov. Honestly, he does kind of look like you after all.
Hold on a second. Is this why you broke in here? To find out whether you're Krasmazov? Sure you are. Well, you both do seem to share an affinity for sideburns, but it seems like old Kras here didn't drink nearly as much as you. Ah, very well. Let's look for identifying features then. Doesn't he have a birthmark right here? What about you? Alright, but here's the big thing. Krasmazov looks Samaran, and you don't. Okay, you win. Be Krasmazov then. I don't care. Why are you so hell-bent on proving that you're Krasmazov anyway? Alright, Kras. You fought in the revolution and everything, if you say so. The White Star, the photos on the wall. I think we have broken into the apartment of a young communard. How fitting. Whoever lives here definitely shares your enthusiasm. There aren't many communists around, not after the revolution. Some youth still keep the ideology going, it seems.
That isn't just a five-pointed star. It's an inverted white pentagram cradled in a wreath of antlers, the iconography of communism, in other words. The star and antlers was developed in the 6th decade of the last century and quickly adopted by Mazov and the communards during the revolution. Even today, half a century after, the star and antlers retains the ability to evoke hope, disappointment, and fear in equal measure. To symbolize the toppling of the old order. Also, some social democrats were already using it. The wreath of antlers represents a natural crown. It was about building a society that could exist in accord with the natural world, and at the same time above it. Because white is the color of peace. Gone is the glory of hope. Only the scribblings of impoverished students remain in dirty hallways. You are the big communism builder now. It's you or no one.
Indeed. Can I enter here? Nope.
Trying to sneak up on me again? Trying to snuff me out? Get away, pig!
Just an ordinary wall. Nothing to see here.
Nope, I cannot use it. Okay, let's move on. Okay, 83% advanced race theory. Good.
Yes? Hello? Me? No one. I'm just a working class woman.
She doesn't really want to be disturbed that much. If she's such a working class woman, why isn't she working?
Not all the time. Right now I'm browsing books. Even a working class woman needs something to read. It is. I know you are.
Everyone can see that. The rectangles.
What with? My husband? No, he's not. I don't know. At home now? Out drinking with his friends? Working?
Where is this going, officer?
Yes, but... I don't really need to know where my husband is. Not all the time. No. Why are we still talking about this? I haven't lost my husband.
It's got to be something else then. Why else would you be asking her if it wasn't?
No, absolutely not. Are you a policeman or a nanny? They are not missing, sir.
You know where they are. They're at home, smoking, giving the ladder of vices a chance.
What? That's just... My daughters are perfectly fine. They're with their friends down in Jamrock. There's nothing to worry about. They're almost grown up now anyway. They're past the age they need me protecting them from everything now. My youngest girl, Jolie, is just shy of 16. Jenny, she is turning 18 next month. But we shouldn't even be talking about them. Why do you need to know this? Haven't I repeatedly told you that they're not missing? That they're in Jamrock, safe and well, at some stupid party?
Did someone say party? You could use a party. Hunt it down. She gives you a short nod and shifts her attention back to books.
I don't mean to disrespect, sir, but you are being a bit of a cockatoo here.
For what it's worth, I agree. But cockatoos can't be stopped when they get like this. It's better to indulge him at this point.
Nothing. Go read up on them if you're so interested. There's a great book in the bookstore.
Maybe you should. What if the cockatoo is your astral captain? Or your heraldic bird?
Yeah. A cockatoo.
Wonderful. The store is open.
Her hands move over the book covers. The tips of her fingers look rough, stained with yellow. It seems like she has spent a lot of time at work, smoking. Another comrade. Years of labor are pressing down on her shoulders. She deserves a hug for all the work she's done for mankind.
Okay.
You step in and close your arms around this foreign body, wandering astray in touch. There's a small movement beneath your hands as you shut your eyes. Then a tiny voice breaks out and asks.
What is happening?
She seems to be confused. Your hands are wrapped around her polyester coat. The fabric feels cold. moist from the sea nearby. The situation is oddly intimate. Your cheek is pressed against her shoulder. Her hand is trapped between your chest. 5 seconds pass, and their passing seems so unimaginably long. Then she coughs and says again,
What are you doing, officer?
"Less talk, more feeling. Keep your eyes closed. Soak in the closeness. See what the feeling entails."
Fighting for it how? Oh. I guess it's better than nothing. Keep fighting on, my fellow comrade. Is there anything else I can help you with?
The woman before you nods and returns to her reading. Advanced Race Theory. Everything is calm in the eye of the race storm. Your mind is lucid and bright. The mind-bending phylogenetics appear more distant and, to be fair, a little ridiculous. The great race mystery has cleared up. All that's left to do is verbalize your thoughts. Go and talk to Measurehead about your newly found insights.
Okay. Let's internalize Caustic Echo. Yes, one. I will go to Measurehead in a moment. I want to finish exploring this.
It's dark. And the flashlight works a lot better if you hold it in your hand. Right. Now let... It's dark. And the flashlight works a...
Looks like someone tried to reconceptualize their business here. Look, the skis and rotor blades both bear the same Slipstream logo. It seems likely that they started out making one, failed to turn a profit, and then pivoted to producing the other. That's a good question. Reality is ruthless. The bear's eyes are dead and empty.
Okay, nothing to do here for now.
A thick layer of coal dust covers the furnace, coloring it pitch black.
You're right. The rooms do look like they're connected. But malignant entities don't exist. At least not the supernatural kind.
Always has to be the skeptic, this man. This orange machine is dead still. It has a hand-cranked ice cream churner and an electric freezer. The ice around it slowly melting. Turning the crank feels oddly satisfying, like stirring your childhood dreams. In the distance, you hear water dripping. It's all gone now. You'll never become a poet or an entrepreneur. What better to assuage the creeping sense of failure than some frozen fat and sugar? You slip your fingers under the frozen lid, but the ice is too cold for you to get a good grip. A pry bar would come in handy here. No, this is going to need something else. Some kind of super pry bar. Don't even try to open it with a regular pry bar. You're just wasting your time. If you want to try again, then you need to have the pry bar in your hand, detective.
Okay, let's not mess with it.
Both cables are unplugged from the breaker box, somewhere in the dark. A giant electrical mammal stirs to life. Somewhere, a machine hums along with the current, happy and contented. A thick layer of coal dust.
Looks like it. Looks like an old central furnace used to heat the building. It's connected to the chimney. No one has used it in ages. No signs of any recent fire. Only the...
It's dark and grimy here. In the darkness you can...
What are you doing? Wait, really? Take your head out of the chimney, please. It's not safe.
Okay, so how do I get up to the chimney? I don't remember. Ah, here it is.
Hello, I'm Nia. Did you try knocking on my window? I must have missed you. I've been listening to my Milius. So what kind of die are you looking for?
Could this be the malicious entity? Perhaps it's wise to go along with this masquerade for now. She's got a direct view to the backyard. You should interrogate her about the lynching.
Yes, Amelia is like a call-in station. You need a two-way radio to access one. That's why I have these. Mostly, they just teach you to swear in different languages. But some of the stations can be quite interesting. I was so absorbed, I must have missed you knocking. Then how did you get inside? By the south entrance? You know what? It doesn't even matter. What matters is that you're finally here. Let's talk dice. Did you have something specific in mind? I'm a novelty dice maker. Tell me the name of your role-playing system and I'll make the die you need. That's why you're here, yes?
Okay.
Answers? How strange. These days people only come to me for dice and role-playing games. I'm not sure how helpful I'll be, but go ahead and ask.
It almost looks as if the stones and dice are a natural part of the room, growing out of the shelves like stalagmites. No falsehoods are present. She's a novelty dice maker and doesn't have anything to hide. Ask what you need.
Nothing really. I didn't know him.
Who cares about the dead body? We might be dealing with a malignant entity here. The lieutenant looks at his notebook, then the woman under the large window.
Your window looks directly onto the courtyard. You're saying you didn't see or hear anything unusual last Sunday evening?
I'm sorry, Detective, but as you know, I usually have my headphones on when I'm working. It shuts out most of the daily ruckus behind my window. Well, there's always something going on in the Whirling's backyard. During daytime, there are usually those kids. And lately, I've been seeing a lot of drunk workers hanging about. Must be because of the strike.
She's heard of the murder, but did not see it, sire.
But I never saw anyone during that fateful Sunday night, I'm afraid.
Okay, I believe you.
I might have, but in this case, all I would have seen is my own reflection staring back from the darkness. It's really hard to make anything out in the yard when it's dark outside. Besides, I rarely get up to look out the window when I'm in the zone. It's an odd profession, making dice for people, but I like it, and I prefer doing this to sitting at home.
Okay.
She nods.
Anything else, officer? We're inside the chimney of an old central furnace. It's strange, I know. But when I arrived here, all the other rooms were taken, so I had to build myself a makeshift home. Besides, I don't really have to pay any rent here, so that's a plus.
Plaisance was right. There's an entity living in the chimney. You should ask her about the curse.
Creative.
I've heard the stories, but I don't think those stories are true. Plaisance, the bookshop lady? I've heard that her business is doing rather well. Have the energies spared her somehow? Oh, right. But it's not just the bookstore that's still up and running. What about the Whirling in rags? Some people say it's part of the building complex. You could say so. Both houses were built at the same time and under the East of the Commerce Central project. And then there is me. I've been here for 14 years, selling novelty dice to role-playing enthusiasts. Not exactly a million-real business idea, yet somehow I've survived despite the talk of malicious energies. Strange, isn't it?
Maybe it's just because she's so talented that she's been able to woo the curse.
Malignant entity? What does that even mean? Some kind of sorceress? What about you, officer? Do you think I'm the malignant entity?
Time has come to face the source. Fear not, for the forces of the universe are supporting you in this psychic quest.
Exactly. Truth is always so disappointingly mundane and boring. But I'm glad we got this sorted out. Anything else I can help you with today?
That's all she has to say on the subject. She's been thorough and truthful, as far as we can see.
More or less. Are you interested in anyone specific?
Oh, quite a lot of them spring to mind.
Yes, I think it was called Androgynous Orlando or something similar. They weren't a big hit around here. Turns out that working class men don't like genderless haircuts. They're scared of that word.
A bit of experimenting every now and then isn't bad.
I guess it just wasn't the time yet. It wasn't merely a gym, it was Artemitep's Boxing Club, a community project created to steer at-risk youth away from drugs and crime. A kind man from Zemsk. I heard he had some trouble with the law when he was younger, and that's why he wanted to start the gym, as his way of giving back. Kuno. Who's Kuno? Oh, yes. You mean the kid with the sailor's mouth? Yes, I've heard him yelling profanities in the backyard.
Okay, sorry for the pause. I had to let my cat out.
I think it would take more than a gym to help that kid. It didn't. If anything, it made the youth situation in Martinez even worse. At some point, someone started a rumor that the punching bag downstairs was full of amphetamines.
You should have known it. It's not really full of that. No one would store their drugs like that.
Eventually, the coalition took away the funding and the club went bankrupt. This was a few years ago. It's gotten much more peaceful around the plaza ever since. Oh, this one's a mess. There used to be a company that promised to repair windows 24 hours a day. What could go wrong with this one, right? Turns out, the business was actually set up as a front for an illicit group that was producing snuff milias. Who would have guessed?
What's the snuff milia?
And they never cleaned up the debris either. Now it's just littering the hallway and I have no idea how to get rid of it on my own. It's a sub-Rosa radio station that broadcasts real murders with real victims. Some people pay good money to get off on it.
Nothing changes in her tone as she says that, as if it's just another piece of information to lay out for the world.
I don't know, Phoenix. It's rather old. It's a she, actually. She comes by every now and then.
What does she mean to get off on it?
Don't worry, the ICP has a separate division that deals exclusively with unlicensed sub-roses. This isn't our problem.
Good luck with that. It's not easy catching those perpetrators. You mean Mr. Fabron, the taxidermist? No, he mostly just did drugs.
But what drugs exactly?
He got high on some weird taxidermy chemicals. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. Eventually, they caused him to lose control of his bladder. The smell was awful.
I bet.
Even you can probably do better than that.
There used to be a fashion atelier here, but I have forgotten the head designer's name. They were doing well for a couple of years, until the insect rights activists came. Yeah, the atelier didn't know it either. They produced a certain collection that used chitin among the materials. Apparently chitin is made in the Occident, where it's extracted from beetle wings. And you know how all kinds of political movements are big in the Occident. The activists shut down the biggest chitin supplier, which of course caused the price to skyrocket. And, naturally, all the most fashionable tastemakers refused to be seen in chitin from then on. The atelier went bankrupt before they could finish the collection. At least it had some spark to it. Most young designers just combine lace with leather and call it original.
Indeed.
As she shifts around, you notice several dead flies on the windowsill in front of her. Legs up. They're not moving.
Anything else? They were made by a company called Slipstream. After they pivoted from making rotor blades to skis, Their chief executive took off on a vacation with all their money. Honestly, I think it's quite funny. I think he's still sending out holiday transmissions from Tulula or Tiumotiri or Hashtkor or wherever he is. Sure, it's illegal, but it's not exactly anything extraordinary in business. Besides, Slipstream is history now. All their remaining assets got seized by the bailiffs in 47. I have no idea why those keys and blades are still lying around.
They were just props. Why return them? Maybe you could make a sword out of one. No, wait, forget it. It would take too long.
Fortress Accident, the radio game studio. They were an interesting bunch. We talked about role-playing systems every now and then. Once, I even saw two of them get into fisticuffs over Wirral.
That's understandable. Fantasies are serious things. The mind is the drawing board of history.
They certainly took their work very seriously, even if they seemed to be chronically liberal with their schedules. The usual, they ran out of money and couldn't get the project done on time.
Typical.
Well, I did hear them talking at times. They seemed to believe they were historical individuals on some grand quest.
She sounds almost mocking when she says that.
Yes, but when the money started to run out, they just began to complain a lot about capitalism. You know, how the markets are rigged to keep out new businesses and so on. In the end, they just didn't get it done. They didn't have enough willpower to produce something truly historic, and to show up to work on time.
Showing up to work on time is hard. No, scratch that. Showing up to work at all is difficult, especially if you've been drinking.
Still, not everyone is going to make it. That's the nature of the game.
The result is 1 on a 20-sided die. The dice is black and filled with little silvery flakes, like snowfall.
Anything else? Oh boy, the fabled Revachol ICT. You're in for a treat here. The place was owned by two guys who had some rather innovative ideas about marketing. The bear was one of them. Now ask me about their other ideas.
Indeed, what were the other ideas?
There was really just one, and it involved picking out the prettiest girls in the neighborhood and paying them 20 cents per hour to man the booth. And by man the booth, I mean slump behind the counter with a face that could maim you if you ever dared to disturb their bored magazine browsing.
Fritte does the same thing.
Employing silky teenage girls is a widespread practice, yes. Unfortunately, they always come in packs. I'm talking about acne-ridden girlfriends and gorilla-like boyfriends loitering near the shop. At least that's what happened with Revachol ICT. And they already had the bear.
The bear.
The bear. Of course not. The bear was terrifying. No one wants ice cream guarded by a hostile apex predator. To make matters worse, the fridge didn't work too well either, and half the ice cream came out malformed and partially melted. Eventually, Revachol ICT lost the price war to its rival, Glace 5000. Glace 5000 sold caramel sundaes for only 5 cents a piece, out of regular fridges. Maybe, because the taxidermist who made that bear definitely wasn't doing his best, I mean. He said that the bear was his vision beast. He said he met his vision beast while high on desiccants. Called it Megatherion.
Sounds cool.
It's an imaginary beast that guides you through life, by telling you to do more drugs, mostly.
A wise and noble beast. guiding you toward the land where the streets are paved with drugs.
Very good. You shouldn't do them. You're a police officer after all. Anyway, now you know the story of the fallen ice cream empire. Anything else? Oh, good. I hope it clarified things a bit. What else? How did I become one? It was a business decision. I was a regular jeweler at first, but that's an unfocused field with too much competition. Some of my friends were role players. They asked me to make some polyhedral dyes out of cobalt. That was my first order. I grew it from there. Not especially. I like working with rare materials and a steady pay. And role players as customers? They're nice people.
Some of those nice people have big bucks to spend on novelty items.
Of course. Tell me what you have in mind. I think I have just the right one for you. You're a police officer, right? Here, catch. They're a gift from me.
A beautiful woman tossing you a gift. Whatever you do, don't overthink it.
Okay, let's catch the dice.
You overthink it. Your hands can't agree what to do, and the two dice drop to the floor and scatter in opposite directions, like pearls from a broken string. The blue one disappears down the pit in the center of the room.
Ah, down the drain, like your career. I apologize, officer. That comment was unnecessary.
Her knuckles pop audibly from her nervous habit of playing with her hands. The soft chatter from the headphones continues unabated.
I'm listening. Good. I hope it clarifies
Okay,
things a bit.
8% shivers
What
free,
else?
nope. So let's go to Plaisance and inform how there is no curse. And that should be fun.
You're alive and well. Don't keep me waiting now. What's in there? In that dark sarcophagus? Yes, yes. How was it?
Tell her how ghastly it was. You know it's what she wants to hear.
I knew it. Oh, such horrors that have been thrust upon us. But what else did you find? Did anything survive? No, of course not. Have you located the entity? A novelty dice maker? Well, spit it out. Why does she need the dice? For some kind of sorcery? Sometimes they use the ankle bones of sheep. I don't understand. If it's not her, then where is the source of the doom? How did she explain the curse?
The narrative she's built herself, it does need tearing down. Just don't say you don't have any answer yet. The uncertainty is killing her. To hell with it. Perchance you ought to just lie, sire.
A third order presence, yes. I've heard of these triactors. In certain occult literature, that's too dark to dwell on for too long, and definitely not in the presence of my daughter. I understand everything, sir. Thank you for your descending into the maelstrom. I will keep fort up here, strengthen the wards, do my best. And if you happen upon the third entity in your travels, may the Lord be with you.
Well, this has been absolutely educational. If we happen on the third presence in our travels, we will certainly come back to tell you.
Yes, the venture continues. In other waters. Darker waters.
Should we get out of here before the vortex collapses?
A book about cockatoos? There should be one upstairs, right next to the shelf of biographies.
These shelves are overburdened with books from the same series. You see the name.
Oh, crime, robberies, murders, even sexual crimes. We're fortunate to have Dick Mullen and his stories to sort all that out. You're a police officer, apparently. You should buy all of these. They really do teach a person how to be a proper detective.
No, thank you.
A sulfur-crested cockatoo sits on the cover, its beak slightly open. It looks as if the bird is calling out the book title, From A to Zurich, a guide to a well-behaved cockatoo. Turns out that there are so many different cockatoo species, and they all have behavioral problems.
It's a must-have if you own a cockatoo. I've heard they're quite capricious.
Shall I try stealing the book? Yeah, let's go for it. Nope.
Slowly, you move your hand toward the tome of cockatoos. Before you reach the book, you're interrupted.
Do we really need to do this? I think not.
Okay.
Oh, a nature enthusiast. Good choice. I knew it was a good idea to keep that around.
Why not?
A cockatoo is a parrot with an erectile crest, found on the Seminine Islands and in southern Fas a la Mer. Known for their intelligence and general precociousness, cockatoos are popular birds in aviculture. However, they often exhibit various behavioral issues. This book talks about the delicate nature of toos, as well as introducing some of the most popular species among the bird enthusiasts. The funeral cockatoo, the major majestic cockatoo, and the most common bang bang cockatoo. It's colorfully illustrated. Where to even begin? All cockatoos are known for their needy natures, requiring attention for at least 2 full hours a day. They love to talk and have been described as lovable clowns who just don't know how to wrap up. Pet owners also report moodiness, loudness, and hostility as recurring issues. If left unsatisfied, cockatoos may scream non-stop, pluck their feathers, or become aggressive. It is not recommended to get a cockatoo if you're not able to cook them food every day and give them the full care that they need. These birds will never understand that you have a life of your own. You're right. Cockatoos are magnificent creatures. They love to perform, cuddle and show off, and will even scream for fun, often as loud as up to 135 decibels.
Oh my.
Not great for the neighbors. Performing? Yes, birdie. This is a yellow-tailed black cockatoo. Its specific name, Psittacus venereus, relates to its dark and somber plumage. This bird looks as if dressed for a funeral, 24/7. There is something indisputably ominous about it. Ooh. Perhaps the most impressive of all the species, the endangered major majestic cockatoo, is often described as the most flamboyant bird in the jungle, its pink-colored wings and flowing crest embellishing its proud and bumptious nature. In the words of poet-explorer Sir James Fournier, few birds more enliven the monotonous hues of the verdant forest than this big, bold, and beautiful species.
Bang bang cockatoo.
Despite its banging name, the bang-bang cockatoo is actually the shyest of the species, common in almost all Seminoese forests, as well as zoos and homes all over the world. Its plumage is mainly grey and white. The Seminoese name, bang-bang, is thought to be of onomatopoeic origins. Yes, but all those cockatoo species are so different. Which one are you? You're right, Your Majesty embodied. This big, beautiful bird belongs on your heraldry. As you turn, a bright light catches your eye, making you squint. So cool. From a distant sunset, a stage light, flash photography, nowhere in particular. It's just what superstar law officers do. They squint at lights and they solve shit.
Yeah, that's me. I've been establishing my superstardom hard lately.
Yeah, you have. You're a big dick cop. Dick Mullen, Salam Rocky Baye, badass on-the-edge disco cop. Time to recede into a ludicrous fantasy world. Here we go. Camera, lights.
And action!
With a sudden flash, the world freezes around you, and you along with it. In an iconic monochrome solution, a black silhouette against a rasterized orange world. It's on.
Okay, it's time to go to Measurehead. Okay.
There. Working class drunk. You know what this means, right? Cracked it. All in a good day's work. What do you mean, what did I crack? Look at how working class that drunk is. No, it's not. Yes, and you found him. Now go and tell the working class woman. Protect and serve, recruit. Didn't she repeatedly tell you her husband isn't missing though? There's no need for champagne when there's honor, recruit. Go and tell the working class woman what you found, right now.
Okay.
Excuse me? I don't know. The most talkative one? The what now? You truly are one strange cop, aren't you? God damn it, I already told you. My husband isn't missing. Very well then. Where is he? Excuse me? Right, 'cause working class women come with alcoholic husbands. You know what?
Remember, about that what, never ever say what.
You were right. I do have an alcoholic husband. Although not that one. No, he's not. Or maybe he is, I don't know. He's probably in the park or in Shamrock somewhere, drinking with his friends. I haven't seen him for... Well, to hell with him.
I wouldn't be so sure. Man, just to be completely clear, do you want to report it to the police?
Report what? He's just out drinking with his friends. I'm sure the police has better things to do than to chase down local goofballs.
She sighs, but you can detect a slight hint of gratitude and
Yeah, it's
relief
our job.
from her face.
We should do it.
All right, go ahead. Do you have any questions? Honestly, not that different from you. Oh, thank God, no. It hasn't come down to this yet. Well, he's slightly chubby. What else? He was wearing a dark brown leather jacket with a bright blue inner lining. The lining is hand-sewn. I made it myself. It's his cool jacket. God knows it's too cold to run around in this, but he refuses to change. I even tried throwing it away once, but he just dug it out of the bin. Can you believe it? Well, what can you do? I hope that at least that extra lining helps him keep warm at night. I wouldn't like him to catch cold. Yesterday morning, he went to the library. He went to retrieve my book, and he promised he'd walk straight back home. Because we talked about this. We talked about not wandering off again. I don't know what to do. I honestly don't know what to do with his addiction. Just makes me feel weak.
Gone for around 36 hours then. Damn, this is a missing persons case.
Yes, indeed it is.
She turns away from you in an attempt to recover.
So you are going to look for him? Thank you. Please do. Even though I'm sure he will return home by himself. I'm still sure of that.
I'm sure he will too. When he does, would you let Precinct 57, Kim Kitsuragi, know?
I will. Of course, officer. As I said, it's probably nothing. Right. What the...
She gives you a short.
Okay, took the case. 22% caustic echo. Let's go to the measure head.
The afternoon sun shimmers off the white on blue police livery of the motor carriage. Do something important? Something murder related? There's always something important. Doesn't mean you can't take a moment to admire this piece of machinery. This is a Caprice Kanema, the Caprice Motor Corps follow-up to their highly successful workhorse, Caprice 40, and the answer to the Lum's racing breed, Ferv series. With its air-cooled, rear-mounted 12-cylinder compression ignition engine, driving the rear wheels through a 4-speed manual gearbox, the Kanema is able to reach 100 kilometers per hour in 13.5 seconds and go on to a top speed of 180 kilometers an hour. The high center of balance is offset by a large battery bank mounted at the bottom of the cabin, feeding all the auxiliary systems and making the Kanema effectively a mobile power plant. Due to a quite steep price tag, it is very unusual to see one in police livery.
You want to take a closer look? 130.
I reckon that's a 7-liter V12 there.
7.2. Supercharged. Yes, an extraordinary machine.
It's nice and all, but why so modest? Put some zing into it. Flare it up. Slam it down. Helium headlights would improve the range and quality of the visual field a lot.
Sorry, I'm not
Lingo it up.
Well, maybe don't just say every little thing in your head out loud. Yes.
It's nice and all, but helium headlights.
Actually, I have a pair at home. Just haven't gotten around to fitting them yet. I need to lay some wiring for the ballast first. Maybe. Yes, definitely maybe.
And means no.
Okay. Let's sell our bottles. Every little bit helps.
The tear machine stands in the corner. A sign says, 1 bottle equals 10 cents. Your bottles clunk into the machine, and the money appears with a satisfying jingle. You're a richer man now. Do you know what you should do with that money, kiddo? You should buy more alcohol. Enter the endless cycle of consumption.
No, thank you. Now, let's see what we can do here.
The unpromising race pupil returns. And look, babe. The rich man has humiliated and emasculated this couple. He can only think in base materialist categories and feminine abstractions like money.
Rich man really fucked him over, Jean.
His rage is already played out on the stage of history as the grotesque tragedy of revolution. All it can accomplish now is impotent academic text and neurosyphilitic rock and roll melancholia. Impotent class warrior, I take pity on you. You clearly want to enter the harbor bad, like a little boy who wants to go on the potty. I can press the button for you. It will open the door. Promising race pupil returns. There is nothing funky about them. I cannot possibly imagine what else we have to discuss, Tibere Vacholian. Your love for disco music and venereal disease?
Shame on you!
You see a set of tire tracks in the brown slush that covers the plaza mosaic. The tire tracks were left here by an unknown event that took place some days ago. It's a message, written in the language of burnt rubber. Some of that rubber stuck to the tiles right in front of the whirling in rags. This is point A. The driver started there. and then accelerated straight into the fence, left a hole big enough for the Franco-Nigerian cavalry, according to the cafeteria manager. The driver proceeded to back out of the yard, barely stopping before hitting the adjacent building. Before heading south, must have been in a hurry.
You are correct. This is a rather motor carriage-friendly city.
Somehow that makes you feel scared. You don't know why.
I'm not sure. There are plenty of traffic accidents waiting to happen in Martinez. With the jam right here on the roundabout, I would keep them separate.
You could follow the track south. There seems to be a canal there. See where they went, if you find the time. An inconspicuous pile of the roofing material, Eternite. It's nothing. Someone just left some roofing material slanted against an old shack. Because it's nice and orderly, well-laid pallets, easy on the eyes. Rhythmic pattern calms your mind. Mammals like this stuff. No, there's more to this. You get this strange feeling. Hard to say. It's gone now. Feelings pass, you see.
Okay, so how to get to the Union boss? I really do not remember. Nope. Okay, let's try to get the body down, although I don't think I have the points necessary.
There he still is, looking right through you with his white eyes. The body below is entirely dedicated to that corpse smell. Emitting it is all it does now.
Yeah, I know I'm gonna fail.
The smell is repulsive. It pushes in from your mouth, more instant and more familiar than anything you'd expected. More fever than odor. It fills your mind, flushing you from within.
Yeah.
Too late. It's impossible to keep in. Your body curls and pushes it out, burst by burst, until a pool of vomit lies under your feet and your throat stings from the stomach acid.
Keep it. The hangover is clearly making this worse for you. You could use some ammonia to clear your head. If you can handle the headache, some officers use it to deal with cadaverine odor. I can't handle the headache.
It's more likely he can handle the smell, unlike you.
There is Frit nearby, east of the hostel. They usually have a small apothecary. If they don't, there's a greenhouse here, and a gardener with a wheelbarrow on the corner of the whirling rags. If she works here, she might have something for the smell.
Pretty clever.
Okay, let's try to do that.
I've got nothing to say to you. I am not.
You could be Liz. You could be anything. You could even be a model.
Even a mod? Glenn, I went to law school. I am an attorney.
He's right. With a face like that, she could be on the cover of Le Debutante International. The cold look in her eyes speaks louder than words. She is not amused. It's not her. She's not a hardy girl. Definitely.
Okay, let's go to Frit. Get some ammonia.
Is this about the questions again? Because I don't really know anything.
She looks up from her magazine, eyes filled with tired ennui.
Yes, what we have is there, in the medicine cabinet. Go take a look yourself.
A small cabinet on the wall is filled with various medicine bottles, nasal sprays, and blister packs. They all bear the Saint-Baptiste Pharmaceutics logo. Their logo is the bloodless rose, pure white, untouched by harm.
Just ask me if you need anything from St. Baptiste. We don't stock prescription meds, but we do have Nosafed, Duramine, Magnesium, and Hypnogamma. I don't know. Let's see. Nosafed is a nasal spray. Duramine is a really good painkiller. Magnesium is a dietary supplement. Hypnogamma is... I don't really know what Hypnogamma is. I guess it makes you feel less shit. It's recommended to use after lots of partying, studying, or exercising. Uh-huh. Okay. Don't, like, overdo it or something.
Okay, let's go to the body again.
There he still is, looking right through you with his white eyes. The body below is entirely dedicated to that corpse smell. Emitting it is all it does now.
28%. Yes, let's go.
You crack open the ammonia ampoule and breathe in. The odor of death is still stronger. It's a spell of the mind telling you to run, and your stomach to wring itself empty. With your eyes squinting, you stand in it. It's a puzzle. What's hanging in front of you is a puzzle of decaying flesh, tattoos, and tendons.
They do after 7 days, yes. We are deep in decomposition here.
The man before you is naked, but for a pair of underpants and enameled boots. His skin is greenish, marbled with decaying veins and blotched by lividity. A fading web of tattoos covers his chest and shoulders. The cargo belt used to fasten him to the branch above appears industrial in strength. The material appears to be ceramic. Its clean white stands in stark contrast to the decaying flesh above the knee. The man wore thick polymer socks, probably for padding. A fine array of interlocking plates covers them. Delicate and fragile, they feel alien to the world around you, out of place somehow.
Yes, one. I did not expect it either. I was lucky at 28%.
These are clearly not boots. They're armor, possibly part of a larger set.
Indeed. Technically speaking, these are sabatons, not boots. Ceramic plate, zirconium dioxide, most likely. This is where the make would be. Under the heel, fair weather model T500 VE. I'm guessing that's vitreous enamel. This is advanced stuff. Piece by piece. He's been out here for 7 days. It would be odd if they didn't. We should keep a lookout for these species. The armor could yield information. This is one thing he might actually know. No, I think he had something precious underneath the clothes. They had to remove the jeans and shirts we found to get to it. And this kind of armor is often worn under fabrics.
Nice. That makes sense.
They usually hang them completely naked for that. La puta madre, the Mazda, the Besmerties and the like. This one still has his underpants.
Fucking talking about underpants.
Clearly, Kuno would like to interject something here, but there's not enough for him to hold on to.
It is. It's expensive. We've requested similar material for our tactical units for years now. The constabularies deemed it too costly. In that time, we've lost 6 men to semi-automatics. For a full set, about 4 years of wages.
For the northwest region of Revachol, an officer's average yearly income is 5,500 real, unadjusted for rank.
By catching, do you mean let's not log them as evidence? Let's steal them? It means disciplinary hearing. That's for us to find out. My initial report on the area suggests he was a security guard for the harbor company. But that's just hearsay. I agree. This equipment is way beyond what a guard can afford.
A small bell-like sound fills the air, like tapping on the side of a porcelain cup. The pry bar in your hand is itching for some action.
It's anything but. This material is a kinetic redistributor. It spreads kinetic energy horizontally, from plate to plate, dissipating it entirely. See?
Faint, organic lines cover the plates where they separate into smaller ones. These plates then divide into smaller plates until there are hundreds of them altogether. Like whirls of floorboards, the design looks organic, influenced by highly resistant wood materials, like lignum vitae and ebony perhaps.
Okay, what does this remind me of?
If trees were made of porcelain, this is what their cross-sections would look like. The smooth, glossy surface fractures into ever more intricate interconnections, peaking on the right sabaton, where you notice. The whorls are in the shape of a letter and number combination, E50, 100, 1000.
Good. Can you read it to me? We have a make and a number. That's something. We can use the radio in my kinema when we're done. Either station can chase it for us.
The cadaver slowly twists on the cargo belt, his torso covered in tattoos and extremities blotched pink and blue.
Okay, I don't want to pull the boots off.
The hangman's knot is pulled tight by the weight of the corpse below. Yellow, hard-edged polyester cuts into his neck. Above, a sliding buckle ties the belt to the branch. This is a steel-reinforced cargo lashing belt, big brother of the regular cargo belt. It's used for tying cargo under 6-rotor airships.
Airlifting. I thought it was used on lorries for strapping cargo to them. The local harbor uses 6 rotors to shuffle containers around. I get the sense they use whatever was on hand without paying much attention to not incriminating themselves. I was afraid it would be. Thin steel wiring, parallel strands. This makes getting him down more problematic than I had assumed. Right now, everything seems to fit their confession. A noose is one of those things that's easier to use one way around. That ladder can't carry a grown man. I didn't see any splintering either, did you? I think they lassoed the branch, then pulled on the belt to close the buckle.
Could be. The shape of the branch supports the theory. The cadaver hangs from the cargo belt, limbs limp and torso covered in tattoos. An intricate web of blue lines stretches across the torso, from the right shoulder to the solar plexus. Each time they intersect, a small white star is formed in their crossing. Hundreds of fading asterisks riddle his skin. Their concentration is highest around his heart. His corpse is marked by stars. Alcohol and heartbreak.
I have only a cursive knowledge of the science of cybernetics. I would not know if it were. But it's not quite complex enough, is it?
It doesn't seem familiar from the insides of any radio computer your mind can imagine. The somewhat organic lines remind you of old filament memory units, but not quite. No, you're nowhere near right.
Go ahead.
He takes a thin piece of milled aluminium from his coat pocket and pulls it open. Sounds like a sword being unsheathed. A small lens appears. Some sort of camera.
A Trigger Sunshine. Mini.
Triggered is the world's leading manufacturer of intercommunication devices, primarily projectors. The camera before you looks familiar somehow.
Shit, Kuno! What the fuck is that?
An instant color camera. I have only 2 ampoules, so nobody move. I don't want to waste one.
A sound, a shrill flash, followed by the breaking of a small ampoule of glass. You see streams of color pour onto the thick, glossy piece of paper, rolling out.
In case we need it. Yes, it is pretty cool, isn't it?
There is only one ampoule left. Use it wisely.
It contains insight to the victim's person. By his build, I'd say this was a man of physical violence. The story he wanted his body to tell was important to him. It is his letter, to us. Someone should decipher it. We'll need to show it around. Sure, just don't lose it.
The glossy-eyed corpse looks by, his mouth mute and his skin as colorful as the chemical rainbow on the photo paper, teeming with opportunistic organisms. His eyes are milky white and blind to the world, protruding comically from their sockets. There is no one home, just subaquatic terrors there. Dark brown hair grows on his head. His face is ready to explode from the organic processes inside. The death's head grin has passed. What remains is an unrecognizable mess.
I'm gone.
into the wild pale yonder, in the past, way out west. I'm a joke, look at me. A killer, a motherfucker, and a killer. Go ahead, Kobo. What do you mean? It's the power of your imagination. Go ahead. Ask me more questions. You fucking love questions. Because you're a copperoonie. Look at all of them go. Do you want more questions? Your lost copper dopo would have been so primo.
I hate you. You stink and you're boring.
Do I remind you of someone?
A child born with Muller's disease, harlequinism, grown up miraculously.
You sure wrinkled out of that one, Coppolini. Come back later, Coppo. Amuse yourself with my frank manners and my memento mori features. If possible. Also, see me in your dreams.
As you narrow your eyes, the monster before you blurs into a violent mess of green and pink.
Hi, Elite Pro. You are late.
This is a trick. You've done it before. Pink is where the blood settled in the first hours post-mortem. You can use it to see if the corpse has been tampered with. Does his position at the time of death match the discoloration? Only the lower extremities are pink with a dash of blue. His fatted hands, thighs, and his neck, just above the noose. The rest of the corpse appears dark green in the cold spring air.
I see it. His neck too. The lividity goes right up his chin. We have good, well-pronounced discoloration here.
The monster comes back into focus, an explosion of color, coursing with dark marbled veins. His stomach appears pregnant with something. Black liquid streams down his thigh and onto his boot.
Indeed, Elite Pro. Thanks for joining us.
So, what do you think? Agreed, especially on the neck. The belt acted like a tourniquet, keeping the blood in his head. The hypostasis supports a hanging. Everything here seems to corroborate that assumption, but we should still get him down before assigning a probable cause of death. I agree.
His personality is no longer a part of the world.
Totally dead. That sounds about right, yes.
A pool of blood and feces has eaten into the frozen mud below the man's feet. Purge liquid is dripping into it, drop by drop.
The victim appears to have contained no more than half a kilogram of digestion at the time of death.
The fuck are you saying?
Talking about shit.
Did we? I don't feel lucky. I do. Most of them are post-mortem. Maybe even all of them. The delinquents have made our jobs harder with their little sport.
Stop talking in riddles, coin slot.
It means you fucked him up good, Kuno. Fucked him up brutal like.
But there is no breath to catch. Only the cadaver filling the air and your nostrils. He slowly rotates before you, decomposing.
Of course. You have questions, don't you? Come back later, Coppo.
Are you sure we finished the preliminary examination of the cadaver? We might miss some of these things once he's done.
The cadaver slowly twists on the cargo belt. His torso.
The steel-reinforced belt presents a unique challenge. I brought chain cutters, but I don't see a good angle of approach to the belt.
He doesn't actually think the challenge is unique. He thinks it's frustrating, annoying, and harder than he thought.
The cadaver is a good 1.2 meters up. Neither one of us can reach the belt without assistance. And even if we do, there's the question of cutting the airship strength material. Someone else? You mean like the police? Sadly, yes. The whole RCM is out there right now, doing the exact same thing we are. Are we in a rush to help them? Not with this on our hands. I know it's hard, but I assure you, the others won't come to help us. And we have a growing sanitary concern here. We need to get him down, fast. Climb up there and saw the branch? There has to be a less risky way, with less falling down of trees. I was really hoping we wouldn't. The Union appeared to be suspect in this case. It seems like a dangerous route to go down.
I would really prefer if there was another way. These people might have an agenda. But what other options? The corpse twists on the belt, like chicken on a skewer.
Yeah! Bang bang time, pig! Shoot his head off!
How?
Where the buckle ties the rope to the branch. That's a good spot to aim.
Where? Ah, yes, I see. If the shot hits that, there might be a chance to release the belt.
Yeah, now we're talking. Entertain a Kuno with some shit.
They'll miss! The pigs will miss Kuno!
The lieutenant's brow is furrowed. He appears too deep in concentration to even notice what you said.
This seems important, so yeah.
I'll blow his head off.
Take it!
Yeah, take the shot. Kuno wants some of that shit.
Silence. With his elbow sharp, the lieutenant unzips his jacket and produces a lightweight firearm. He drops a paper cartridge in the barrel, separates the scouring stick, and gives the cartridge 5 tucks, securing it in place. That's a Kiel A9090 Armistice, mass-produced muzzleloader, ascetic, frugal, one of the most common firearms in the world. He then steps back and assumes the fellow's desk position, taking aim. The corner of his eye twitches. His finger is on the trigger.
He's gonna fucking miss!
The deep voice is drowned in a shrill blast that echoes off the walls of the surrounding tenements. A cloud of smoke slowly parts in the air as the lieutenant steps back and says to himself,
God damn it.
A lot of things were wrong with that shot. The fellow Stess was the wrong choice. His shoulders are raised, but above all, he cannot trust his eyesight.
Fucking idiot!
Kuno could have hit it easy, but then Kuno's not fucking handicapped, is he?
No, we are lucky as it is. We didn't break anything, and the victim remains uncompromised. Any more mistakes could put us in an unfortunate position with the locals. We have
Kuno's sorry too. Kuno feels sorry for the Beano Cloud.
The lieutenant doesn't say a word, just looks at the gun in his hand.
Remain collegial, officer. It was an honest mistake, and I will not repeat it. I have to say, it's beginning to look unlikely we can get him down without assistance.
You know, you don't feel like too bad of a shot yourself.
Yeah, let's try it.
It's bad as it is, us shooting firearms like punks here. Go ahead, I'm not stopping you. Just don't hit the victim.
They only have one gun!
Oops.
This is the sorriest pair of pigs Kuno's ever seen.
Officer, why do we only have one gun? That is even more unfortunate than the badge. You need to contact your station about it as soon as possible. Try not to lose this one, please.
Take it, you fucking banana pointer! Take it and shoot yourself in the mouth!
The cold piece of bakelite and gunmetal is surprisingly light. Your fingers fit right through the guard, instinctively resting on the trigger.
The fuck are you waiting for, Kuno? Tell him to shoot himself in the mouth!
The buckle comes into focus in your sights. You stand with your feet planted firmly in the ground and your left hand supporting your gun arm.
Why don't you just shoot yourself in your mouth? At least you won't miss.
Okay, this is a red check.
Your field of view narrows. The branch slowly moves, becoming entirely two-dimensional. The metal buckle glimmers, slick, with the falling rain. The corpse slowly rotates. The slow movement of the branch in the wind and your shoulders directing the gun sink up, dancing hypnotically.
Look, he's crying! You gonna cry now, fucking faggoty?
Okay, let's try it. Start praying. Nope. Oops.
A plume of smoke erupts from the barrel. Your hand goes numb from the explosion. With your ears still ringing, you lower the weapon to see what happened. You missed the belt, but hit the corpse straight in the chest. Bits of ribcage protrude from the skin. No blood, only a murky sludge dripping down his belly. The sudden stink makes your eyes water.
Oh my god, he's gonna fucking cry! I knew it! What a mulko!
Ask for another shot. You'll get it with the next one. The goddamn light reflected off some window. Surely.
The cadaver is already compromised bad enough. We don't have to make it worse.
It came out wrong. You made it sound like you're some sort of roulette addict looking for a fix. Ask again. More control this time. There is silence.
Vittupa wants to fuck up again bad! It's the song of my people, asshole!
Don't provoke her.
Shot him in the chest! What a fucking idiot!
It's not the gun's fault you can't shoot. It's your pig hands.
Pigs don't have hands. They have, like, fucking hooves or something.
Kuno has hands. Kuno can shoot that shit down for you.
That's preposterous! What are you, a fucking Earl?
We still need to get him down somehow. The bad way. The way I didn't want us to. By asking the harbor for help. They have the tools and the men. If they put him up there, they can take him down too. From the gates, by negotiating or fighting. I'm unenthusiastic about fighting. Or we can try to find some secret third path. It's unlikely though.
To the gates. Let's negotiate.
To ask the suspect for help with the victim's body? To be indebted to Everard Clare? Very much, yes. Which is why I would have preferred us to handle this ourselves. Clearly we can't.
Suck my dick, bitches!
He's a dangerous and corrupt man, and we cannot predict what he will want from us in return.
Yeah? Don't go being someone else's bitches. You're Kuno's bitches.
Damn it, I had almost 60% and I failed. Yep, let's go to Measurehead again.
Hola, Wandering Man.
Promising raised pupil returns.
Okay, I won't try it. What third way to get inside? I don't know of a third way.
An intricate web of blue lines stretches across. It almost looks like the electronic patterns inside a radio computer or an old filament memory, but not quite. For you to discover, you've gotten as far as you will without assistance. Someone who knows about history could tell you. Gone.
Still waiting for a replacement for the bull you sent sinking. It's a Bell McGrave, 4.46 caliber, breech loading, Revachol made. Good weapon, accurate and reliable.
His moves are quick and precise as he first checks the weapon, then aims it at the sea. This man knows firearms intimately.
This one's inoperable. The bolt spring is missing and the mechanism is jammed shut. Still a beauty. Where did you find her? I'm not surprised. There are probably lots of forgotten wartime weapons lying around here. Back in the day, everyone had something stashed away. As for the rifle, I don't know what else to tell you. These BM-446s are an antique. No one uses them anymore. The ammunition is impossible to find. What is this? Are you mocking us? This isn't for Betonk.
Now. No need to get angry again, René. I'm sure the officer tried his best. It's not like there's a bull kiosk here in Martinez.
That's how it is, huh? Fine. I guess you did attempt to right your hooliganism. Consider it forgiven.
Okay, thank you, man.
I have really outdone myself. This is divine.
Yes, that's what you need, Gaston. More padding on that fat arse of yours. I hope your heart gives out.
René, it's a little pleasures. Life doesn't need to be a struggle. Hello, officer. How might I be of assistance on this fine day? Let me think. I heard someone was hanged and left on a tree for a week. But that's all I know, really. Of course, officer. I mean, I hope I can. What's on your mind? I'm sorry, officer, but I really don't share food. Nothing personal, it's just a principle.
The only one you have.
Believe me, officer, I wish I could help you, but I need this sandwich to keep my blood sugar stable. In my age, you need to pay attention to these things.
You can barely hear him. The sweet smell of pickles in harmony with garlic butter and marinated onions emanating from the sandwich is driving your mind in a singular direction. It must be yours.
Fuck off! It's mine! Sorry, officer. I'm sorry. I didn't mean it in a bad way. But the sandwich is mine. I'm not gonna share it.
When the dissidents come to rape our country, he hides. But try to get a bite of his dear sandwich and he gets claws? We are a special kind of vermin, Gaston.
G'day to you, officers.
A burly man hangs out by the waterlock, carving up a generous serving of salami with an old hunter's knife. His eyes are fixed on a man stranded on the other side of the waterlock and on an enormous billboard that has fallen down into the canal between them.
My friend Barry the Butcher is stuck on the other side of the waterlock. I'm keeping him company and eating his salami.
From the corner of your eye, you see a man in a yellow shirt and grey overalls waving at you from across the canal. He seems disappointed about the wreckage on the waterlock and the salami.
Very good stuff. Anything I can do for you, officer? I wasn't here to witness it, but those look like tire tracks on that sign. Weird, huh? Then again, plenty of daredevil drivers in Revachol.
The words daredevil driver sound ominous to you.
I bet it does.
Too bad it also takes a year and a day to repair anything around here, especially a waterlock. The rest of the coast is closed off till then. Well, there's the fishing village, an abandoned fish market, a bizarro church. Not much use to the congregation, though. There always seems to be something wrong with it. Yeah, not really much else. Just bombed out ruins. Sure thing. Want some too, officer?
Why not? The boomboxes on the shelf look well-loved and well-traveled. Chipped, dented, they stare at you with the unblinking eyes of their tape reels.
Let's see if we can find any clues around here.
One especially catches your eye. Deep gold and amber plastic with a big old handle on top. A classic boombox that says Stereo 8 approved. This is you. Golden orange. A sunset suite. Just make sure it works before you buy it.
If police work means playing tapes, sure, you can use it for that. Or any other time you'd need to play a tape. Absolutely. I've tested each one myself with recordings of speech, found sounds and music from a variety of genres. Even though I don't really like music.
That's odd. Why doesn't he like music?
The stuff I record myself, silverware shaking in drawers as motor cars race by, nocturnal animals climbing on the roof, airship rotors, that kind of thing.
Maybe you should ditch music as well. Get into these more experimental sounds he's describing.
Is the Harman Welsh W2, made in Vespa, designed in Seoul, plays all reel-to-reel formats, 2mm, 8mm, 12mm. It's even got a little radio in there. It'll set you back 12 real.
Not right now. I will need the cash, I believe, for sleeping tonight. Okay, let's talk to him about Omadakwa.
Hello. Let me know if I can help you with anything. The Koldima Madakwa? Sorry, I would never have guessed that you were that interested in ultrasonic sounds. Or birds, for that matter. Oh, I didn't mean to imply otherwise. Well, it's been a while since I've gone hunting for the Koldima Madakwa myself. Once knew a group of young musicians who decided they didn't want to play music anymore and started looking for all kinds of interesting sounds instead. This was before, you know, lost touch with them after all of that. Cool or not, one of them was obsessed with recording the Koldi Mamadakwa, and he was one of those passionate people who know a lot about all kinds of strange things, so he got the rest of us to join in his search. We thought we did. We got together all these recordings of unusual sound patterns, compared them, cut them up and combined them into the Symphonia Koldi Mamadakwa. That really wasn't the point. After the Symphonia, we moved on to the sounds of office supplies or something like that, and I doubt any of us would have been any good at pushing papers. Unfortunately, I don't have any recordings from my old life. None at all, but I do have a tape with some ultrasonic sounds that might be what you're looking for.
Do we really have time for this?
This recording comes from down the coast. Wasn't looking to record anything specific. Just left a recording device there one morning. Keep in mind, I have to slow this one down enough to make sounds well over 200 kilohertz audible to the human ear. It will be strange.
As the hum grows louder, modulating but always unnaturally uncomfortably low, like it's coming not from the speakers, but also from inside your chest. Breathing is becoming difficult. Not good, not good. You're about to start suffocating. You have to stop this. There's a growing sense of dread. The sound is coming from inside you, but also surrounding you. It feels as though someone is standing just outside your range of vision and watching you, doing this to you. He nods to you, reassuringly, just as more diverse, higher-pitched sounds, some random, some appearing to form patterns, hit your eardrums. Seabirds most likely, gulls and such.
And skewers, but
A low range of sounds is easier to handle with a focal point, but still troubling. You are mesmerized by the sounds, but also feel nausea welling up as the motif continues, then begins to recede, dissolving in what must be the sound of water lapping at the bank.
you know, now that I've listened to it on these new speakers, it's not the Koldi Mamadakwa. Wrong patterns, wrong photons. Probably some insect trying to sing higher than its predators can hear. Still, fascinating, aren't they? Early morning sounds. Someone else came here earlier today asking the same question. I promptly sold her the gun you pawned a couple days back.
This is a pawn shop, and it did feel as if you've met before. Oh God. The lieutenant shifts from one foot to another, alert.
She didn't seem like a policeman, although she kept referring to herself as a pig, which was odd. I found her interest in the gun a bit obsessive, but I was just happy to get rid of it, and of her. Truth be told, she was terrifying.
Right, so let me get this right. You sold your sidearm, issued by the citizens' militia, and now a civilian is running around the streets of Martinez with it? You're right that she could cast aspersions on the force. We have to find her.
You were adamant about getting rid of it, officer. Said you were undeserving of a service weapon of the Revachol Citizens Militia. And I don't like keeping guns around the shop for long. Off the charts photon emissions. The unhealthy kind. My apologies, officer, but I have no idea where she was coming from or where she went.
Okay.
A needle in a haystack. There is nothing you can do about it now. You'll just have to hope you luck upon her somehow.
Of course. Sure thing. Sure, man.
Okay, let's go to guard and pay off our night so we can sleep later. And after that I think I'll end this stream. Has been long enough. Thank you for those that joined me today. I will do one in the next week to follow. I will have to think about how to get to that union boss.
Oh, hello, dear.
Can I help you? Got the 20 real?
Yes, I do have.
Good. You got the room for the night, but remember, you'll need another 20 real tomorrow.
Okay, so we still have some time, you know, in day 2. But for now, as I said, I'll end this episode. Thank you very much for watching. And I'll see you next Saturday, I believe. Yes, well, thank you for joining me. So I wish you a great day, and bye.